Today on Rock and Blues Review, we welcome two of the most popular and recognizable blues artists in Canada, Cheryl Lescom and Johnny Max, and they have teamed up to bring audiences a bluesy Christmas, and the show rolls into Port Colborne on December 6th. Welcome to the show, Cheryl and Johnny.
Hey,
Hey,
thanks.
Bob,
Thanks for having us, Bob.
how are you?
I'm doing well, and I hope you guys are too. So
Well,
let's start with that show right away. Bluesy Christmas. How did that
so
come about?
Bluesy Christmas, I think we've been doing for almost 10 years now, minus COVID. But it's a Christmas show that Chuck and I Chuck Jackson and I had an idea in Port Credit probably 15 years ago and did a one-off. And I decided I wanted to bring it back, and we've had different permutations of bands, and it's just all your favorite Christmas songs, plus a couple new ones that people wouldn't know, and just bluesifying it as much as we can. So it's no different than a country show, no different than a pop show. They're just the Christmas songs, and you've grown up with them. We play them and we joke along and we make googly eyes. I mean, we all make googly eyes at Cheryl. So
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's smart. So you mentioned Chuck Jackson, so he's coming with you. And I think it's smart that you've got Niagara and Kitchener and Toronto slash Mississauga all represented. So you're bringing in pretty much all of Southern Ontario.
oh yeah, well, I mean, the other thing is that it's a great band. You know, the band itself are guys from other bands and my bands and that, but jazz guys and blues guys. Also, you have Cheryl, and Cheryl won't like this, but I mean, she's one of the best voices in the country, right? So you get to sing with her, and she dresses up all nice and pretty for Christmas.
How does she let you sing, Johnny? Let's ask her that. Cheryl, how do you let this
I,
guy in?
I love Johnny and I love his voice. I tell him all the time he just underestimates his fabulousness.
Because I've heard of me.
Well, I could say something right now, but I'm not going to.
Okay. So you mentioned the band. Who else is it coming?
Um, so and the Port Colborne show. So we have five shows, right? So we have running from Midland all the way through Toronto, Port Colborne, Fergus, and I don't forget one, and Meaford. So it's all over southern Ontario and the near North Say or Muskokas. So we have five shows, and one is with the wonderful Keisha Wint in Midland as well. So she comes in. She's sung with us a couple times for other shows. So it's Cheryl, Keisha, and myself with the same band, and we have all those shows and we just have a bunch of fun. I forget what the question was.
I just asked who the band was.
Oh, who the band was.
We are gonna
Um,
run it. We are gonna run out of time.
oh yeah, no, listen, there's a lot of concussions to consider here. Um, it's Jimmy Casson on drums, so from Downchild Blues Band and the Johnny Max Band. Mitch Lewis on guitar, and Brigham Phillips, who's a massive Toronto jazz guy, played with John McDermott and the likes of that, on keys. And on bass from Guelph, Ontario, is the young Scott Fitzpatrick, whom Cheryl knows very well as well. So, yeah,
It's a
runs
great,
again.
it's a great band.
So Cheryl, I saw you at Southside with Chuck this year. You seem like you're having a ton of fun. Is it as much fun as it looks to us?
More. It is. It's more fun. I mean, just to be able to be on stage with your friends and make music is just it's such a gift, and to be able to still. This is my 50th year doing this, and I just feel super blessed to still be doing it.
You've got
50, 75. I started out.
well, you've got a history. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Of course, Lance Anderson, Ronnie Hawkins, Long John Baldry, and the one that caught me was Del Shannon. How the heck did that happen?
I was working at the Coronet, and I was a waitress, and I was singing, but I'd started as singing backups with a band called Mike Lehman's Full Flight, and I just said, if you need a singer to sing backup for you, and he said, yeah, I do. So I just got up on stage and sang backup for him, and it was lots of fun.
Wow. Yeah, there's a name. And so you both work with Lance quite a bit. Uh, what's it like doing the Lance Anderson extravaganzas?
We both hate Lance.
But Johnny does a lot more. I haven't done very much work with. I haven't actually worked with Lance for about a year now because I was just kind of doing the Mad Dogs and Englishman show and a few of the other shows that have gone sort of by the wayside. Lance has got so much on his plate, so he definitely has the Last Waltz show, and that's sort of his big one that he continues to do constantly. So that I guess that's the reason why Johnny's always in that show, aren't you, Johnny?
I am. I mean, I've pulled away a little bit because of the tours of my band, but it's generally the last waltz anyway is usually what we call shoulder season, so spring and fall, because the whole band, all the musicians are part of other bands, and as you know, Bob, we all our busy season in Canada is essentially May to September, and then everything shuts down apparently. But Lance does all these shows that. Um, he had the Mad Dogs and Englishman, which I sub in for Chuck whenever Chuck couldn't make it, and then Chuck doesn't sub out anymore, so I'm out of work at that point. But he does these shows that are lumped in with the tribute shows, and they're not really tributes. They're not. Nobody's playing anybody. Nobody's playing one part or being somebody. They're all interpretations, I guess, if you want to split hairs. And unfortunately, I think we all get with those shows, with my John Prine show as well, we get lumped into the tribute, quote unquote, shows, which everybody wants. But Lance's shows are actually commissioned by the Kitchener Blues Festival, which Cheryl is a fantastic MC and part of. So, like, they're commissioned by people. It's Oscar Peterson show, and Lance does a great job of picking the right people, I think, for all these shows, and spreads the wealth around as much as we all try to do. It's just it's what you do. And again, like Cheryl said, it's playing music with your friends.
Yeah, I
And
always say that.
Claude Coutier is he's the artistic director of the Kitchener Blues Festival, and this started, geez, about 15 years ago, I think.
15 years ago. Yep.
And I think he initially went to Lance and said, I want sort of a big shows, and I want this to be a big production. And I think the Last Waltz was the first one, I think. And then he put together, the Mad Dogs and Englishmen show. He's put together, like, every year he does something different, and every year he just you can't even believe what you're seeing on stage because it's just so professional. And for a guy, he throws together these bands and with these fantastic players, and they have one or two rehearsals, and it's crazy how good they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's the thing I like about it is it sounds like the show that it's supposed to be, but it also doesn't sound like it. Like, it sounds different as well. It's amazing. Whereas, not to disparage, but there are like Eagles tribute shows out there in AC/DC that they try and actually sound and look and dress like the people, and that's not what Lance's shows are about. It's not what any of our shows are about. It's about just singing the songs or playing the music that we like, right? So
Yeah,
there's a bit of a difference there.
oh yeah, for sure.
respecting the music without imitating it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question. But let me ask you this then. When you do the history of these shows, like The Last Waltz or Mad Dogs, does the history of those shows and the people who were involved at the time, does that affect you? Do you think about the personalities?
Well, for me, for the Mad Dog Show, I remember getting that album in about 1970, and I was just so blown away because it was there wasn't a lot of really strong female vocalists at that time, and Janice and maybe Tina and Etta, but I mean there was just it was that album really kind of shone for me because the female vocals were so strong, and the music was just the Beatles songs. Of course, we grew up with that, so it really struck a nerve with me. And I mean, even on to this day, when I get on that stage and I get to do those songs with those people and that I'm involved with on the stage, it's such a pleasure. You can't help but be affected by it.
Yeah. Well, I asked that because I remember Rita Coolidge saying that it was fantastic because Joe Cocker had no ego. And so he was so generous with the rest of the band. So, those personalities kind of seep in for me, and I'm just wondering if they do for you.
Absolutely. Johnny?
And yeah, I think all these shows, um, I don't think I think if somebody has an ego in any of these shows, they're quickly not asked back because, um, not to be flippant, but I mean, you're a Canadian musician. We are egoless and we're humble to the nth degree, now keeping in mind, I got into this really late. Like Cheryl got into this obviously when she was 3, but like I got into this when I was 34.
23.
Yeah, so I had my ego days on through sports and that, and that you find in music there is no ego, and the ones who have ego are the ones who nobody wants to work with. You
Right.
know,
It's really important at this stage in our lives to pay it forward too, and because if you pay it forward, and that that can raise your raise yourself up to the point where you don't need to have a big ego because you're too busy being real.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just thought it was interesting that Rita Coolidge had said Joe Cocker didn't have an ego, and I don't think he did at the end either. Because I remember when the Guess Who got back together and he opened for them, which I thought was pretty cool.
there's a story about his wife, and Joe married late, obviously, and she said the same thing. Is that like she I think she was running an event, or she was a high up CEO that was putting on an event, and she found Joe. This is after Joe had stopped drinking and stuff, but it was she found it unbelievable, as my take on it, that he was a rock star, like the rock star that everybody thought he was, because he was so humble and just like no ego, no nothing, just I'm Joe. Yeah, it was an interesting story when they got together. I saw Joe at Massey Hall, and it was it was too loud for Massey Hall, but it was fantastic. And Keb Mo opened for him, and I thought it was the second coming of Taj Mahal. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was
Put
great.
a woman in charge.
What?
Put a woman in charge. We're doing that song for the Toronto Women's
Mm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's something you're up for too. The Women's Blues Review in Toronto on the 28th
28th. Yep. Just
November. Yeah.
yeah.
You guys are getting.
Superstar here, Bob. She's a superstar, I
Well,
tell you.
you're both busy. I see, Johnny. You seem to be traveling more now, John, than you were before.
Well, it's I want to spend, I want to lose all the money I have before retirement, and I want to do it internationally. So that's what I do now.
It's working, Johnny. It's
It's
working.
working. It's working a charm.
All right. Well, okay. So you mentioned earlier, Cheryl, you've been at it a long time. So how much did Mel Brown change the scene when he showed up in Kitchener?
Well, quite a bit. But Kitchener in that area, we had a ton of live music. I mean, the Coronet was a 500 seat room with a PA system that was what was a house system. And back then, back in the 70s, there wasn't a lot of rooms like that. And then along came Lulu's, and we had a lot of live music in this city. And Glenn Smith started. Oh, he opened up Pop the Gator. He had a couple other little bars that he took care of the music, but when he opened up Pop the Gator, that's when things kind of really kicked up a notch because it was a blues bar. And then he brought Mel to town, and Mel didn't have a big ego either. He was a very generous person with his time and his spirit for all the young players. Like, I mean, there's so many of the young players that were from this area that he mentored, and Steve Strongman and Sean Kellerman, and
Yeah.
he really touched an awful lot of people, and it was because of his kindness and his generosity through the music. And so there was a lot of music here to begin with. What he did was he mentored and cared about this city a lot, and the city treated him well, and he treated us well.
Right.
Yeah.
I just,
I got to meet Mel once, and it was in the last days sort of thing at the Shuffle, and it was I felt really bad that I didn't really get to meet him before that, and again I started late, but just hearing all the stories about Mel, they're fantastic.
He was a major player. I mean, the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
the guy played piano as well as he played
yep.
guitar, and he was just like You knew that you were seeing something special. You knew you were seeing an icon, on that stage when you saw him.
Well, talk about influencing and mentoring. Cheryl, you've been doing the youth camp at Blues at Kitchener Blues Fest for a long time.
Hmm. 17
What,
years.
how do you keep that fresh and for
Oh,
yourself? I mean,
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled every year because of the young people that come in. Some of them come in 11 and 12 and they stay there till they're 18. You really get a sense of where they're going and how they're getting there, and watching them for those 4 days just morph from these scared kids to it's fantastic. And there's they keep me grounded, and they keep me humble, and they keep me wanting to do this every year, because just the results that you get, and when you see how much they shine, it's thrilling.
yeah, that's very cool. And
It is.
yeah, it is nice to see. And everyone worries about the future, but there are a lot of young guys doing it and young girls doing it now, lots. Uh,
I don't know how they're doing. I mean, Matt Whiting was part of the camp when he was a young guy, and just seeing some of these kids that have gone up through the camp. And I mean, Matt's a full-time musician, and he, just that this. I mean, when I started out, you could play 6 days a week and a matinee on Saturday. You could make a living in this business, and this is not an easy business by any means nowadays. And I have a lot of respect for people that can come into it and put their big boy pants on and just do it.
yeah. Well, and you both mentioned the number of shows you're doing and the different presentations you're doing, and everyone I've talked to in recent months kind of has the same idea. Where they're doing a lot more than one thing. They're doing a lot more than one night to keep things going. We just mentioned some of yours, and Johnny, you've got Johnny Max Entertainment. What is that?
Yeah. I
He's a,
asked
he's a stripper. He's a male stripper too. You didn't tell him that, did you, Johnny?
No wonder you're going broke.
they, they keep trying. In Canada, it's hard to be a male stripper because they don't put dollar bills down the pants. It's loonies and toonies, so it just
Yeah,
doesn't. It's not a good look.
it's cold too, so you really don't
So
want that shrinkage.
the well, I mean, Johnny Max Entertainment is just all my theater shows and stuff like that. So it's because I think it's 7 theater shows I was selling at one point, but I'm also setting up other shows. A Stan Rogers show I'm trying to set up. I do a producer show with a buddy of mine that's like Springsteen on Broadway. And I think we're all doing things like this because there was an influx. I saw this in the UK 20 years ago, 25 years ago. All the trade magazines, when there were magazines, um, every small venue, and the UK has a lot more than we have. It's shocking. Had tribute acts going on, and there was ads in these magazines, and it's Springsteen tributes, it's AC/DC tributes, and we didn't have them then, really. There might have been there would be Elvis things and all this, and now it's exploded, and for a couple of reasons. One, uh, the theaters we all play. I may be speaking out of turn. They weren't dying, but the clientele was the same, and it was all summer stock theater, and it was busloads of seniors coming in, and they don't spend money. But what happened was when the tribute acts started becoming more prevalent and less prevalent than they are now, but you had really good acts coming through. The theaters started making money on those because they weren't making money on original artists as much. There's always going to be some. There'll be David Francis and there'll be Valdi's and there'll be Donal Looney and all those things. But for us here, for blues or up and coming rock players, there's no room for anybody. So you have to do theater projects or tribute acts because that's what people recognize. And for some reason, and I was in radio, we're talking earlier, 15 years or so, but what I think has happened was, or my theory is, at about 30, we stopped listening to new music. Like B, Canadian radio doesn't play Canadian artists because if you listen to Canadian radio, you would think that Burton Cummings had 2 songs, BTO had 3, Neil Young had 1. That's all you get. They'd rather pay fines than produce or help to promote Canadian up and coming music. So the only way to get decent paying gigs was to have a tribute act or a show that's in tribute to somebody. And what they found is that people who their kids are growing up, they have a bit more free time. They're going to go see an Eagles band as opposed to see Johnny Mac's band or Jimmy whomever coming up who they don't know their music because they've never heard it before, but they've heard Eagles stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
baby boomers, too.
yeah.
They're living their childhood.
Well,
And
there's that, and Eagles tickets are $1,500.
yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly
Like,
all those big acts
yeah,
tickets are.
like I've seen McCartney 3 times, and now I was gonna go see, I was gonna go bring my girlfriend up to see him this time. Tickets are $700.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
no, I'm
it's outrageous.
No, and I
yeah,
worry, and I'm sure you guys worry more than me, but I worry about new original live music because of
Yes.
all the things you just mentioned. I mean, what if the 60s was like that? You wouldn't have the Beatles or the Stones or Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple or any
no,
of the blues or any of the blues artists that made a comeback because they'd still be listening to Pat Boone.
Well,
but
it's also I think too that video killed the radio, man. I mean,
yeah,
because
yeah.
if you weren't, now you got to be pretty with your own clothing line, your own perfume line, and you gotta. I mean, it's just crazy what you have to. Back then, it was all about the music. It wasn't. You could be ugly and it wouldn't matter. I mean,
Joe Cocker would never make it in today's
Janis
thing.
Joplin would never have made
Yeah,
it. I mean, there's just so many of them, and now, I think baby boomers are reliving their childhood, and they're taking their kids to these shows because there an awful lot of commercials on TV now are from that era, and
Right.
they're that you're getting a little taste of it. But it's like I've got a new CD coming out. Johnny's got a new CD coming out. It's all original music. And I it's just that this is my last one because I can't lose any more money. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. But
So
I'll help you lose money.
oh, thanks, Johnny. You're swell.
you just said you can't be ugly, John. Weren't you listening?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Hey,
Why do you think I wear the loud suits?
he's
Okay,
pretty.
let's
He's real.
let's just touch on those CDs for a second then. How do you prefer people buy your music nowadays?
With cash.
Cash and CDs, like which is such a drag that the cars have now been, no CD players in cars or anything. It's
Right.
I can't I give my kid a CD and they don't even know what to do with it. So it's just it's a little tad aggravating, but Spotify, gee, here's $5.
Oh,
That's if you make a million hits, and it's I don't know. It's just
no. What was it that the figure I saw was Frampton had 1 million streams on Spotify and made, I think it was $1,000. That
perfect.
so
Yeah.
Spotify, if I may, are thieves.
There's
And
absolutely
and the reason they're allowed to do is because there's a loophole in the copyright agreement because they're not a radio station, or they claim to not be a radio station, which they are, but because it's over the internet, whatever reasoning, it's the internet is not in the copyright agreement, so therefore they get a loophole and get to do whatever they want. And the record companies all get paid the same. It's the artists that don't get paid the
Right.
same.
Yeah, no question. And I don't want to, dwell on it, but I just mentioned a couple things. Uh, I have suggested that uh, why isn't there a artist-owned streaming service where the guy who runs it gets 2 or 3% because he'd still be rich, and the artists get the rest. That's
Well,
just
there is.
something to think about.
There's a couple there. CD Baby is one. They're just distributor. Indie Pool, who you can record through and distribute with. They do that as well, and they take less. I mean, we all tell everybody, or at least I do, is I let everyone know, don't buy on Spotify. It's not never going to happen because Spotify is easy, and today's music is made for that. But buy from the artist website. But even those are going. Most artists I look at, the younger guys, like the Irish guys I brought over, they have a website because they have it, but they don't use it. It's all Facebook and Instagram and other social media,
Yeah,
right? So it's websites are even going, like they're not de rigueur anymore. But
right,
when I used to hire bands, I wouldn't hire a band that didn't have a website,
right.
you know.
Yeah, you got to know something about them. But all right, I know it's a sore spot.
that's why that's why the festivals are so important, is because that's the only place that we can really sell CDs and make some merch money.
and play original music.
and play
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like I just went down east, so we did 4 shows as a Johnny Max band, and then did the John Prine shows, and like we're playing 3 and 4, 500 seat theaters. They're not hiring the Johnny Max band because they wouldn't make any money, right? But they'll hire a John Prine show or a Last Waltz show or an Eagles tribute or an AC/DC to
Right.
make money. But
Yeah.
you find little nooks and crannies that you can sell CDs at. And
Yeah.
most people are buying CDs out of kindness, but you can push them to you can set up your website and Facebook pages to sell directly, and you can put a QR code on your business card or postcard that you're giving them. You know, that's the way it's all going.
All right. Well, let's talk about the music itself. You guys are both vocalists. What's your favorite type of song to sing?
Anyone I can find the right key in.
Well, for myself as a singer, give me a ballad. Just give me a ballad. Let me cry the blues.
Oh my God.
Because I mean that's where I sing from, I sing from my emotion, and I don't know, I think that most singers out there, especially female singers, it's just we're just kind of, we like the ballads.
All right.
I'm known for my ballads.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're not talking about the shower.
Yeah.
We're talking about when you're out on the stage.
You know what? It's
Well, you know what? You joke, but you are kind of hard to nail down. So
I get that way.
all
The
joking aside,
cops say the same thing.
yeah, yeah. All joking aside, how would you describe your music?
I have now come to describe it as muscular. How about that?
What does that
Mus-
mean? How does that
Muscular,
mean?
which means like it's so I think my music is
Muscular
more,
Member. That's your new CD, isn't it?
my the reason I say that is because it has a bit of rock and roll in it. It has a bit of like 60s, 70s white soul in it. It's based on horn stuff, although I can't afford horns. There's a lot of Texas stuff in there. There's a lot of Delbert McClinton and Jimmy Hall in there, right? So it's you can't put all that in publicity stuff and tell people they'll be lost. So just call it muscular because it's the way I sing. I am not known for my sultry ballady voice. I'm known for screaming at the mic as though I'm angry at it.
Well,
You're a showman, Johnny. You're a showman.
that
Yeah,
works too.
yeah. So and the new songs do it, right? So I mean, I haven't heard Cheryl stuff. We just finished ours. Ours will be out by the end of November online, and then we'll do stuff in the new year live. But there's a little mix, and on this album, it's the first one since Roadhouse Soul, which came out the year that GM said no more CD players in cars, and Mac went, "Hey, we're taking CD players out of our laptops." Went, "Hey, let's release an album now."
Yeah, I know. Well, don't I didn't
But
get a vote. I didn't get a vote on that, just so you know.
I don't know. Like, listen, when we go to Europe, like Europeans buy CDs, and it's okay. It's you just have to find new ways of doing it. There's song cards out there. There's little things that, like being Scottish, I don't want to let a sale get away from me. But there's cards you can do it there, like I said, with QR codes and stuff, and you can send them online to where you want them to go. So
Well, I don't want to get into the Scottish blues guy because that's a whole show. But
yeah.
let's I'll ask you both this. Is there something you'd like to add to your resume you haven't done? You know, a stage show or a musical or some
Oh yeah.
concept album or something?
Oh,
What would it be?
Cheryl.
Well, I'd kind of really like to do one musical theater,
Oh yeah.
like Les Mis or something, where I, can just be just one that would be okay. I don't know if I could memorize too much, but I'd really try hard.
It's a lot of ad
Why
lib.
haven't you? You're only a stone's throw from Stratford.
Yeah, well, yeah. My son's an
Yeah.
actor, and it's not an easy gig. I think it's even harder than being a musician, especially at this point for me to start out at 73. I don't think so. But I'm like I said, just for me to be on that stage right now in this point in my life, I'm thrilled to be there. So whatever. sometimes you gotta move over, baby. The new kids are in town, and not that I'm gonna just lay down and put away the microphone, but hey, it's not the same. It's not the same ability to I can't do the kind of traveling that I used to and all the rest of it. So, and because I just don't want to anymore. I've been doing this for a long time. For me, it's not quantity anymore. It's quality. That's why. That's why I
Yeah,
picked Johnny.
Chuck and I were talking about that today on the drive back from Gravenhurst. Was that there's a point where I said to Chuck, I said, like, I only have about 7 years left of doing this. He goes, "Oh, you got lots of time. Look how young you are." I said, "It's not about the age. It's about the hustle. Like
Mm-hmm.
you only have X amount of time where you go, screw this. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not. I'm going to let people come to me, which is happening more now. But it's we're not 20. So Cheryl and I, there used to be guys. I used to get friends say, "Well, why don't you do what the 24th Street Whalers do and drive across Canada?" It's because they were 22 when they were doing that. You
And
know,
we've been there and done that. And yeah,
but
so
you guys have. I'm still a baby.
no, you go over to Europe, and which I haven't done. So you're more of a world traveler. I'm more of a Canuck.
Okay, you're a knucklehead.
I'm a Canucklehead.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't think all the traveling is the answer either. We've talked about that too, but we won't get into that at the moment. So we got about 2 minutes left. So let's talk about the show again. Uh, Port Colborne,
So Port Colborne,
December 6th.
Roselawn Center, December 6th. You get tickets at I think it's the Lighthouse Theater website. And December 6th with Cheryl Lescom, Chuck Jackson, full band singing all your favorite Christmas songs. Just and having a laugh. Like there's blues Christmas songs out there, but we do versions of Run Run Rudolph. We do Driving Home for Christmas, Crying Christmas Tears, and Backdoor Santa and stuff like that. And Cheryl does Let It Snow and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and we all make it a little New Orleans, a little blues, and we have big finishers. I mean, Cheryl kills with Oh Holy Night. I mean, it brings the house down every single time.
No
So
pressure.
no, 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 she's unbelievable. It's
Thank you, Johnny, because it's a ballad.
yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a ballad.
But yeah, so December 6th, Saturday, December 6th, Roselawn Center. Come down for a bluesy Christmas, and you can find out more at johnnymaxband.com. All the links are there for all the shows.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That just leaves me enough time to thank both of you for doing this. It was fun.
Sorry to keep you. Sorry to
I'm
come in
sure
a
we
little.
could have done another hour easy.
Well, I look, Bob, I will talk over anybody.
We'll keep
You know,
that in mind.
And we're
I'm
hanging on every word there,
yeah,
Johnny.
I'm a professional.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
And
Bob.
see you in Port
Thanks,
Colborne.
Bob. See you later,
All right,
Johnny.
see
Take
ya.
care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.